there! Today we're going to have a look at a pen by Giuliano Mazzuoli, the Officina, it's a long name, the Officina Quattro Tempi Extra Large, XL. I was chatting with luxury brands. They wanted to send me a couple of pens to review, and I said yes, but I have one request because I have received quite a number of review requests for this specific pen. And I said, okay, let's see what we can do, and they could do it, and here is the pen. I'm quite enthusiastic about this because I think it's a very interesting concept that Mazzuoli did here. Because you can mix and match this pen. It comes with all sorts of little different sections and things, so you can turn it from a ballpoint to a rollerball to a fountain pen to a mechanical pencil. That's kind of cool. Even though I'm a fountain pen guy, it is nice that you have that option to switch it around to your needs. And I kind of like the price too, because of that price, that's pretty neat. So we'll come back to that. And there are a couple of finishes. These are very tool-like pens. They look like tools, and that's because they were based on tools that Mr. Mazzuoli found in the bicycle making shop of his grandfather. And this is an end mill, which is a sort of like a type of drill, you could say. So that is really quite nice. So what I'll do is, I'll show you the parts of the pen, I'll do a writing sample, then I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. First of all, of course, a very kind thank you to luxury brands, because of them you can now look at this pen. Okay, so let's have a look at this, the Giuliano Mazzuoli 365, the Officina Quattro Tempi. So Quattro Tempi, 4 strokes. And that has something to do with what's in this box. And this box appeals to my most boyish sense of treasure hunting, because there's a lot in the box. First issue is actually getting that cardboard sleeve out, which is a bit of a pain, but here we go. Okay, what's in the box? Little magnet closure, which is kind of nice. You remove this foam rubber, and then you have the first set of treasures. Here we have a mechanical pencil with green, blue, red, yellow and grey leads. What are you supposed to do with this? Well, here we have the fountain pen. I take off the cap. I guess I should have had Hamish do this. This little thing comes out too. And as far as I can tell, this actually goes on both sides. So the barrel is universal. It's on both sides. It's the same thing, which is kind of neat. Okay, now I take that mechanical pencil part, put it in, boom. See that? 5.5mm pencil, regular lead. I'm just going to put it, I kind of wanted to put that in there to not destroy the tip. Regular grey lead, but as I said, other colors as well. Now, isn't that cool? So now we've gone from fountain pen to mechanical pencil. But wait, there's more. Because here is yet another section, which you can screw in. And then you do need this little end piece. Of course, you first put in the refill. But look what we have here. Here we have a cartridge. There's a nice little probe to point at things. A little cartridge, we have a ballpoint refill, and we have a black, pink, orange, sort of turquoise, blue I guess, and green rollerball refill. So now we have fountain pen, mechanical pencil, ballpoint and rollerball. And here, which is almost impossible to get out, but there we go, little rubber eraser. So this really is a pretty neat set of writing goodness, I would say. Okay, I'm just going to put that out of the way, because if you follow this channel, I'm guessing you're most interested in the performance of the fountain pen. So to save some time in the writing sample, I'm not going to write with all of these. Those are just Schmidt refills for the ballpoint and the fountain, the rollerball, etc. So nothing super fancy there. But it's quite cool. Okay, let's look at the parts of this pen. At the top, nothing, nice, smooth, sort of a matte chrome. We have this clip. I don't really care for this clip. It's a bit, I think, if you look at the whole cap, it's a little short. It's also a bit, I don't know, these little rivets. I just don't really care for this design. But it does work. It's on the stiff side, but that is nicely rounded off there, so you can easily slip that into a pocket or something. Cap has no markings on it. What is cool, of course, is to rotate this, given the material, the barrel. That looks kind of neat. We have that end mill finish, and that finial, as you saw, it came out. Now you can tighten that with, I don't know, something like a screwdriver or a coin. If you have to change it on the road, I found that you can sort of slip one part of the clip in, and then it does unscrew. So you don't even need to carry anything additionally to be able to do that. It's a nicely sized pen, especially if you compare it to the other pen that Giuliano sent me, or Mazzuoli sent me, which is the regular Officina. That's definitely a smaller pen. So this pen is, as I said, on the larger side. Here you have it right next to a Lamy Safari, so it's about the same size. So I think it's pretty good. It feels quite heavy because, of course, it's all, I think it's all aluminum, but it is a solid metal, so it's quite nice and it feels very robust. It does post. In this case, the clip and the nib don't really line up. It's pretty massive when you post it. That's definitely a massive pen, and it definitely becomes top heavy. So for me, I would not necessarily post this particular pen. Onto the section. Section is tapered, and then you have a number 5 Schmidt nib. I think this pen would look really cool with a number 6 nib, but given that this section tapers down so much, the number 5 nib doesn't look too terrible. This is Schmidt nib. It is a medium nib. It's just a sort of an unbranded Schmidt nib, so there's nothing fancy about it. And it writes. It's not the smoothest writing experience I've ever had. It's not the worst either. It's just a simple nib that works well. Cartridge converter. Converter is supplied with the pen, so you get a cartridge and you get a converter. I think that's actually a pretty neat set, and I think it's very cool that you have the ability to switch your writing instrument so much. Okay, so there you have it. Let's do a quick writing sample. Please bear with me as I reach around a tripod and my handwriting gets even worse than usual. So this was a bit dried out as we were talking, because usually it doesn't really do that. Mazzuoli. Forgive me as I just write Quattro Tempi like this. The nib is a medium, and this is a noodless ink. It's one of the, I thought it was one of the slippery eel inks. Noodless American blue, maybe? I think it actually is, I think it may be American blue. I'm just confused, sorry. There's definitely feedback as you write. It's not really scratchy, but there is feedback. Let's see what happens if we do some fast writing. Even though it's not the smoothest nib, there's definitely no skipping, so that is a nice thing, even when you go this quickly. Wetness. As with many Schmidt nibs, I don't find them particularly wet, so there is that. Flex, or at least line variation, very, very carefully. You can squeeze out a little bit, but not a whole lot. And of course, as always, when you do this, be very careful. It's not a flex nib. And there's that. Okay, finally, reverse writing. You can take this pen from a good medium to, I would say, a very nice extra fine. It is still smooth, and it doesn't seem to dry out really fast, so that's nice. So there you have it, the end of the writing sample. We need to discuss what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Okay, what do I like and not like about this Giuliano Mazzuoli 365 Quattro Tempi Extra Large? And what do I not like about the Giuliano Mazzuoli 365 Quattro Tempi Extra Large? I think there's a lot to like about this pen. I like it. I have considered buying one at some point. I happen to have this one here now just to review it. I think it has some cool features. The fact that it is such a modular system that goes from fountain pen to ballpoint to rollerball to mechanical pencil, that covers all your bases. What else do you need? They even throw in an eraser. That's a nice touch. An eraser is cheap, but it gives you the feeling that you are really buying a complete package. And that is something I really enjoy and really appreciate. I think that's a very nice way to do it. So I like that. I like that modularity. I like the end mill finish. It looks cool. It definitely has a certain appeal. I like the size of the pen. It's definitely bigger than the regular Officina pens they do, which are quite a bit smaller. It's called the extra large for a reason. Nice, big, and posted. It's actually I think it gets a little absurd, but it's possible. I also like the thought that went into it. The fact that the barrel is the same on both ends, so it doesn't matter whether you put the section on this side or on that side. That really helps, because if you're quickly trying to change, say, from a fountain pen to a mechanical pencil, and then it turns out you have it the wrong way around, you have to take it out again, that would be annoying and frustrating. And now this is not an issue. The fact that you can take this little end cap out even without tools when you're on the road or whatever, that's great. I like it. I really like it. It has a a very solid feeling, and I think the a little bit sort of tactical looking, and I know that appeals to a lot of people. I think it has a lot going for it. Now let's talk about some things I don't like so much. So in general, the price of the pen, I forgot to mention that before, I think, is 195 euros. That's the MSRP. Sometimes you can find them a little cheaper here and there, but 195 euros. It's not a cheap pen, but on the other hand, the fact that you get 4 writing instruments for that price, I don't think that's that terrible. It is a steel nib, but it writes. Things I don't like so much. That section really tapers down, and for me it gets a bit too narrow. I mean, that's really thin near the end. And as I said before, I think this would have looked really cool with a number 6 nib. I think the nib, if you look at the whole picture, is a bit dinky. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just looks a little tiny. One issue I had, now I didn't really post this pen because for me it's big enough and definitely heavy enough to use unposted, but if you do want to post it, that can happen. You can get a bit of cross-threading and the cap kind of gets stuck and it doesn't really work properly. So there is that trick where you first turn it the other way around and then you twist it the way you want it. That seems to work relatively well, but this is a bit of an issue. Now the problem is that these threads are metal, but on the inside of the cap it's plastic, and I've got the feeling that sort of just makes it a little tougher to make the threads line up. That's just the way it is. So we have the number 5 nib. It is unbranded, it is a Schmidt nib. It would be really cool if they could do something with their logo on it. I think that would just elevate the pen a little bit, but you know, they don't. That's kind of it. Smallish section, also pretty slippery because there's a really polished chrome, I assume, but some sort of metal gets a bit slippery. But in all, I think this is a pretty cool package, and if you have some sort of tool lover in your household, so to speak, I think you could do worse than give them this, because I think they will really enjoy it. And again, I find the price pretty reasonable, given that you get this Cassetta with the I think that's what they call it, with all those accoutrements in it to use it in different writing modes. It's pretty much Autobots rollout type scenario where it's everything matches up, works well. You have a lot of functionality, and the transformation process is really quite cool. So, very interesting pen. Okay, again, a kind thank you to Luxury Brands for sending me the pen. I appreciate it. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Bye.